Hey everybody, back again with another video. Guess what? Another interview came out of Gamescom. This isn't even one of the ones that's going to come out of PAX, because Yoshi-P is at PAX too. I think he just finished his first day when I'm recording this. This one's from Tech Radar Gaming. I spoke with Final Fantasy XIV's Naoki Yoshida about Monster Hunter Beastmaster and the collaborations he'd love to do. I'm a maniac about One Piece. I have to be honest, I have never engaged with One Piece at all. For Final Fantasy XIV online players, Yoshi-P needs no introduction. He's got a deep love for Final Fantasy, honest and endearing, talking about the shutting down of the mods like Mare. Alright, Planetes Aligned. My interview came right off the back of the announcement of the return of Monster Hunter in Final Fantasy XIV and vice versa. We're getting Omega in Monster Hunter and Arkveld in 14. I know this a little bit. Okay. I was curious as to why Square Enix and Capcom landed on the robotic Omega for Monster Hunter Wilds when Final Fantasy XIV has no shortage of more fitting creatures such as dragons, Shinryu, and Nidhogg. We were talking about Monster Hunter Wilds with the Capcom team, and they told me they wanted to achieve a sort of worldview which lies in an unknown civilization. For that reason, they wanted Omega to make an appearance because it would expand on the worldview that they have in the game. That's interesting wording. Went on to describe the difference between 14's Omega and the one we'll encounter in Wilds, with a rather sentimental reasoning. When we think about what happened after the Battle of Omega, we remember that we now have a smaller Omega, which actually has a heart. It travels around with Alpha the Chocobo, and so from a player's perspective, they might feel bad for attacking the Omega we know. Yoshida kept quiet in terms of story, but he said we can expect the adorable Alpha and Omega to pair to make an appearance in the Wilds alongside our hunters. I don't know if there's a timeline for that. I think there is on the 14 side, or the Monster Hunter side. As for 14's side, Yoshida didn't give much away about our encounter with Arkveld. I asked if it would take the form of a trial, similar to the inclusion of Rathalos. Yoshida said to expect more details at the upcoming Tokyo Game Show in September. Both casual and hardcore players can enjoy it. This does line up with how trials go traditionally with both normal and extreme, so it sounds likely that that'll be the case for Arkveld. Yeah, more than likely. Top 100. Briefly, I moved the conversation over to what plans might be for 14's level cap. Each and every expansion so far has raised the level cap for all jobs, despite limited jobs, by 10, and now we're at 100. Such a clean number, the concerns that any further increases could make grinding levels a slog for or intimidate new players. We are having various discussions in the development team, and the next direction we're taking has already been decided, though for us, the important thing is not the level itself, it's providing the sensation of steady growth to the player. Having said that, level as a concept is something that is common across RPGs in general, so it's an easy to understand concept. What Yoshida said next has me inclined to believe that the level cap will indeed increase again. When it comes to that question about whether this is going to be a permanent policy moving forward, that's still another thing we would like to discuss. We would need to discuss down the road. At the end of the day, we need to think about how we can deliver that sensation of growth, and there's no firm answer behind that. As of right now, we can't say what scheme there will be in terms of level cap being lifted or any details behind that, but I can say we have decided on the next direction. I don't know. I remember when we hit level 100, there was talk in the hype cycle for Dawn Trail that maybe they would figure out something else for levels. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Level 110, I mean, I'm always of the opinion that if they find something interesting to do, then I'll be fine with it. I think I maybe would have liked to see them experiment with something else and keep it at 100. But maybe they just thought it wasn't the right time with it, especially since they're also doing job rebalancing too. Anyway, let's see. Catch these hands. On a similar note, wanted to ask Yoshida about how the team plans to evolve jobs and the battle system in 14 moving forward. At level 100, many jobs, if not most, are beginning to feel they've reached their logical conclusion. Not only do most jobs have some sort of big flashy burst window finisher, Reaper's Perfectio, or Bard's Radiant Encore. Those are some weird choices for sure. Dawntrail started introducing traits that upgraded our role actions, abilities that are shared between all tank, instead of exclusively job-specific upgrades. We do have quite a big plan for jobs moving forward, but it is quite difficult for me to convey the nuances at this time. When it comes to the current content that we have in terms of battles and design, we don't want to destroy that experience as it is right now. So keeping that in mind, we don't want to incorporate major changes to that, but what we do want to do is make jobs more interesting for players to use. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before. It seems like 8.0, the big focus is how do we rebalance our jobs? How do we change up the jobs to make them more interesting for players? Because right now, I will admit, it is very stale between different jobs. I really like the place that Samurai's at, but I mean, some of the other stuff, I mean, Dark Knight and Warrior feels so similar. Stuff like that. Stuff inside the roles just feels like it's the role. There's something my friend, who's a caster main, says is the only role that has real diversity within that role is caster, and he's right. The casters really are the only thing that they all feel very different from one another. Personally expecting reworks for jobs that currently feel a little underwhelming, like Summoner. Oh my god, can we please not get another Summoner rework? I'm curious to learn about any universal changes beyond that, what this big plan entails, be that a shakeup to the universal 2-minute burst, or added depth or complexities. It remains to be seen. We'll probably see that in FanFest. Alright, Unleash the Beastmaster. I then had a chance to speak with Yoshida about one of Dawntrail's most highly anticipated pieces of content, Beastmaster. Much like Blue Mage, Beastmaster will presumably differ from standard Disciples of War magic, and that it has its own unique progression system. Let's see. Regarding this release, I'll be clear. It is scheduled to be released in the patch 7.5 series. That means we can likely expect to see the content arrive around spring to summer of 2026. That is the interviewer saying that. And I agree. I think that's around when 7.5 will be. In terms of the concept, you ally yourselves with monsters, and these monsters grow so they can join you in dedicated battle content. This is going to be something completely different to anything we've done in 14 before, and it's exclusive to this limited job. We've been investing a lot of resources into developing this content, and the team is super excited about it. I asked if Beastmaster questline would tie into the Shadowbringers expansion Save the Queen content. During that, we dealt with an Imperial Beastmaster Lion and got to witness his power. Yeah. From a lore perspective, there will be a connection between Save the Queen and Beastmaster. That said, Save the Queen is not part of the main scenario, so of course some players haven't experienced it. So with that in mind, there will be a connection, but whether or not the characters from Save the Queen make an appearance, I'm keeping that under wraps. Interesting. I would like to see Lion show up, because he's a really, really cool character, and there's some other Beastmasters in there that are pretty cool too, but Lion's obviously the standout. Okay. Final Fantasy XIV Online is no stranger to collaborations. Yeah, we've done Monster Hunter Wilds, Dragon Quest Yokai Watch, Fall Guys. For fun, I quizzed Yoshida on other collaborations he'd love to bring to Final Fantasy XIV. I'm a maniac about One Piece, and I'm a super fan of Evangelion as well, and it goes without saying, but Gundam too. But yes, as a fan of Diablo, I've spent many thousands of hours playing the game, and I've never even got sick of it. I love Diablo so much that I would want to make a Diablo game myself, but I have huge respect for all the staff working at Blizzard, not only as a gamer, but as a developer, so I would really love to bring to achieve some sort of collaboration with them. Oh yeah, here we go. Surprisingly, Yoshida then turned the question back to me, wondering what collaboration I'd like to see in 14. Being a huge Tekken fan, I didn't hesitate to say I'd love a crossover. Perhaps a trial against Devil Kazuya. Oh, that would be sick, actually. Yoshida seemed to really like the answer, of course mentioning 16's protagonist Clive's inclusion as a guest character in Tekken 8. Oh, that's interesting. Of course, for Final Fantasy 16, we did work with the Tekken team, and we do have a close relationship with them, so I will let them know. It's interesting, he said in an interview many years ago, I think this was during Stormblood, this is when Tekken 7 was still out, that he would love to do a collaboration with Tekken because he thought Tekken was really cool. And I remember he had conversations with Harada before. Apparently Yoshida used to be like a nightmare in arcades in, I think it was Street Fighter Alpha, Zangief. Anyway, he had said in the past he wanted a crossover of Tekken, and that he thought it would be really cool to get like some of the gear that the like Kazuya and Jin wear in Tekken in the 14. And I said, you know who they gotta put in Tekken is Wadargelt, the monk trainer, which is a weird pull, but I thought it would be really, really cool to have like Wadargelt and he's doing monk moves. He's got the monk AF and stuff. I always thought that one would be really cool, but we got Clive instead. Anyway, let's see. Okay, almost done. Bridging the gap. Closing out our interview, I wanted to get Yoshida's thoughts on the thematic parallels between Endwalker and Dawntrail. If you're unaware, Endwalker marked the endpoint of the near decade-long Heidelin and Zodiac story arc. Dawntrail then marked a new beginning for 14 in terms of story, transporting Warriors of Light to the far-flung western continent of Taral. What begins as a quest for us to facilitate a rite of succession of the Dawn Throne morphs into an unapologetically sci-fi adventure. Dawntrail dealt heavily with themes of death and the world we leave behind for those who come after us. It's quite the mirror to Endwalker, which encouraged players to find the beauty in life they have and reject nihilism. The thing we want to convey with Endwalker was, even when you reach the end of something, that's not the end of everything, and players should not give up. There's still hope, and we wanted to give them the strength and hope to do their best to endeavor for tomorrow. When it came to Dawntrail, we didn't want to ask the question of what tomorrow could be, or the end of the world. Instead, we wanted to convey more about the reason behind what death is, and what is the meaning of the end. The reason why we pose these questions is because in our real-life society right now, there's a continued evolution of the digitizing of everything. And with that in the backdrop, we wanted to approach the question of how will we live tomorrow? And that is the question we're posing in the story moving forward. Interesting. Okay. As for where the main story could go from here, I asked Yoshida if he was able to tease any upcoming locations Warriors of Light have heard much about, namely Meracydia, a huge region of much importance to the story. I can't provide any specific details, but I have already decided when Meracydia will make an appearance and how, but what I can say is that it is going to be quite a while away. When it comes to that point in the story, we will be facing a lot of mysteries, but it is going to be quite some time ahead. But I do want you to express to your readership, that's me, that I am thinking about it properly and firmly. So, it seems like Meracydia might be off the table for a little bit. I am kind of also working on a video about loose threads and places we could go. And I definitely wrote a lot about Meracydia because I really want to go there. I've been wanting to go there for years. But it looks like probably not this time. But anyway, that's the interview. Not much else to say. It's a pretty interesting one. I expect us to get a lot more when PAX wraps up. We're probably going to get a lot of people talking to him after PAX. So we'll have more to talk about then. But anyway, let me know what you think of the interview in the comments. Have a good one.
If you liked this video, then you'll love it when I stream on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Nexus Requiem. I stream whenever I want and I don't make a schedule. Maybe I will someday. And you can watch me. And also, I'm on Blue Sky. I'm Demon's Souls on Blue Sky. Someone got Demon's Souls before I could, so I had to add another S. I don't talk on Twitter anymore because everybody there is a Nazi. Please go to Blue Sky and talk to me about Final Fantasy.